Hi everyone, it's Scarlet, and welcome to Soul Talk. Here we get to have conversations on living our soulful life. We get to share tips and ideas, tips on how to nourish your soul, and ideas on how to make sure our energy is in alignment with our soul's path. And we want to make sure that we're working our energy to make sure that it is in alignment with our soul's path. Now, having said that, today's conversation is about 4 simple tips on how you can connect with your soul guides. Now, what are soul guides? Okay, because there's so many different labels out there for them. But these are our guides. These are guides that walk with us, and some stay with us throughout our entire lifetime, and some come and go depending on what we're dealing with in our life in that moment. Some of them are kind of like specialists with some of the challenges that we're dealing with, and that's why they come and go. But really, our soul guides, some people refer to them as spirit guides or guides, as angels, loved ones on the other side. Really, it's all of the above, and they're all here to guide our soul. So today we're going to talk about how we're going to connect with them, and I'm going to give you 4 tips. So let's start. All right, tip number 1, you want to make sure that you protect yourself. Now, everybody's got a different way with respect to how they protect themselves. I'm going to make a strong recommendation that before you do anything, that you sit and you create a circle of protection around you and fill it with light. Okay, now some people need maybe a little bit of a visual, or some people like working with crystals. If that's the case, then put crystals in a circle around you. I know some people like working with candles and they put candles around them. Whatever is your comfort. I'm okay with just simply in my mind's eye, I create that circle of protection around me and I fill it with light. But please make sure that you do something to protect yourself. This is a very essential step in doing any energy work. Okay, step number 2 is to ground yourself, because in this crazy world, we've got so many things being thrown at us energetically from all areas of our life. And before you do any energy work, you always want to ground yourself. So an easy way to do that is just to plant your feet on the ground, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and picture roots growing from your legs and from your feet, going deep, 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 deep down into the earth. And you want it to go right into the center of the earth. We want the energy from the center of the earth. And I like to visualize that looking like a crystal. So I'm going to hang on and lock into that crystal in the middle of the earth. I want the purest of energy. I only want to work with the purest of energy. Okay, so once we've done that, we're now going to say a brief statement. And the statement is very, very important. And that statement says, I am open and receptive to guidance from higher light beings. Okay, so I'm open and receptive to guidance from higher light beings. I am only open and receptive for guidance from higher light beings that are coming from light and serving the light. Okay? Because we only want to connect with higher light beings. We only want those beings, because there's lots of beings out there. We only want to work with the beings that are serving the light. Okay, the highest light. White light is also what some people refer to it. And you can use whatever language as long as it's meaningful to you. But you want to make sure that you are dealing with higher light beings, white light beings, those that are only here to nourish us in that higher light way. Okay, so that's a very important step. Then from that moment, I want you to just sit in that space. Okay, so you just sit there and you allow that connection to happen. All right. And once you feel, you just want to hold space there just for a moment. And once you're feeling grounded and connected with the higher light, then you want to say, who am I? It's that simple. Who am I? And what is my soul's purpose? Now, this is where it can get a little tricky. Okay. So this is where thought wants to take over feeling. And your lower self, in other words, ego, is going to want to take over as well. And allow it. This is where we are just going to allow the space, and then we allow those thoughts and things just for a moment, and then we just sweep them to the side and we invite our higher self. Okay, we invite our higher self back in. You're going to find that you're going to float back and forth. Ego's going to pop its ugly head a little bit, right? So our ego, our lower self, in other words, is going to pop. And you're going to alternate a little bit. Bring it back to your higher self, and that's okay. Don't think. This is not a space where you can think, oh, think what's happening, nothing's happening. You can't do that here. Okay, here is where you're going to have to allow things. You want to connect with your heart. Your heart is the seat of your soul. This is an exercise, if you want to call it that, in feeling, in allowing. Okay, and when you allow yourself to just kind of go float back and forth from your lower self to your higher self and to thought, to feeling, then hold that space with your higher self and feel what your heart and the whispers from your soul are saying to you. Okay, feel that. And I want you to sit there for about 10 minutes, for as long as you'd like, okay? But really sit there for a few moments. 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a number because people always ask me, how long should I do it for? But really, this is about feeling, not thinking. You're going to find that things are going to come to you. You're going to feel, your body's going to feel a little bit different. Now, what are we doing here, okay? So really what the objective here is, because you may not even feel that you received, any information from your guides. All you're doing by doing this exercise here is to activate awareness for when you are alert, when you are walking through life. And you're going to find a huge difference. Okay, so after you've done that, after you've held space in that higher self, you're going to say, higher self, I surrender my life to you. Okay, so now you're surrendering not to your lower self, you're surrendering to your higher self, because your soul knows the way. And it's so tough because we always want to drive, we want to be in charge, right? Drive that, keep that hold of that steering wheel. But this is where you're going to release. We're going to allow our soul and our guides to guide us. Can you imagine living just for a moment where you get to just take instructions from your soul? Wouldn't that be an interesting life? Stay tuned, because we're going to do another podcast on that. Having said that, let's just stay focused here. But really, we want to allow our soul to take, the steering wheel in this case. So this way, by connecting and by surrendering to your higher self, you're allowing that awareness to happen during your waking hours, okay? And even in your sleep. But you're going to see more messages when you are alert. All right? So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, drop me a message. I'd be so happy to chat with you. You take good care and enjoy living your soulful life. Bye for now.